Carbide burrs, those durable rotary tools made from tungsten carbide, are prized for their ability to grind, shape, and deburr materials like metals, wood, and composites. But even these robust attachments eventually dull from prolonged use, leading to inefficient cuts, increased vibration, and potential safety hazards if not addressed. Sharpening and restoration extend the life of carbide burrs, often restoring them to near-factory performance without the expense of replacements, which can cost $5 to $30 per burr depending on size and quality. DIY methods empower hobbyists and professionals to maintain their tools at home or in small workshops, focusing on techniques that respect the carbide's extreme hardness, around 90 Rockwell A scale, while avoiding damage to the flutes or shank. The key lies in using appropriate abrasives like diamond files, which have embedded diamond particles capable of cutting the carbide without excessive heat or material loss, combined with careful technique to prevent over-sharpening that could alter the burr's geometry and reduce its effectiveness. This article explores these DIY approaches in depth, providing step-by-step verbal instructions for sharpening flute edges and other restoration steps, along with critical warnings illustrated through descriptive close-up diagrams to guide precise execution. Understanding when and why to sharpen is the first step in restoration, as dull burrs exhibit signs like slower material removal, rougher finishes, or binding during operation, often after 50 to 200 hours of use, depending on the material's abrasiveness. Hard steels accelerate wear faster than softer woods. Restoration not only revives sharpness, but also cleans embedded debris that clogs flutes, ensuring efficient chip evacuation and cooler running temperatures. Before diving into sharpening, always prioritize safety. Work in a well-ventilated area with eye protection, gloves, and a dust mask to handle fine carbide particles, which can irritate skin and lungs if inhaled. Begin restoration by inspecting the burr under magnification. A 10 times loop works well for chips, uneven wear, or buildup. If the shank is corroded, gently clean it with a soft brass brush and isopropyl alcohol to prevent slippage in the collet. For minor dulling, a simple hone suffices, but for deeper restoration, diamond files are essential. Their grit ranges from 200, coarse for heavy dulling, to 1200, fine for polishing, allowing controlled reprofiling without the risk of steel files glancing off the hard carbide surface. The core sharpening technique for flute edges involves diamond files to hone the cutting surfaces, a method that targets the helical grooves where wear most commonly occurs, restoring the rake angle, typically 10 to 20 degrees, for optimal shearing action. Step 1. Secure the burr in a soft jaw vise or clamp, positioning it horizontally so the flutes face upward, with the shank elevated to avoid contact. Use padded jaws to prevent scratching the shank and align the burr so the flute you're working on is accessible at eye level for accuracy. Step 2. Select a diamond file matching the flute's curvature, flat for straight sections or needle files for tight radii, and apply light pressure, no more than 5 to 10 pounds, along the flute direction, filing from the tip toward the shank in short, even strokes, 1 to 2 inches each, at a 15-degree angle to mimic the original bevel, making 5 to 10 passes per flute while rotating the burr incrementally to cover all sides. Step 3. After initial passes with a 400 grit file to remove dullness, switch to a 600 to 800 grit for smoothing, checking progress frequently by feeling the edge with a gloved fingertip for uniformity. The goal is a consistent, sharp lip without rounding the heel. Step 4. Clean the burr with compressed air or a soft brush to remove diamond residue. Then test on scrap material at low RPM, 5000, to verify balance and cutting action, adjusting if vibrations indicate uneven sharpening. Warnings abound here. Over-sharpening is a common pitfall where excessive filing removes too much carbide, more than 0.005 inches per side, altering the flute geometry and reducing chip clearance, which can cause binding or overheating. Limit total material removal to 10% of the flute depth, and stop if the edge feels grabby on test material, as this signals imbalance. Always wear magnification to avoid inconsistent angles that weaken the structure and never use power tools for sharpening, as uncontrolled speed can fracture the brittle carbide. Beyond flute edges, restoring the burr's overall profile requires complementary techniques like lapping for the shank and chemical cleaning for embedded contaminants, ensuring holistic revival. For shank restoration, use a fine diamond lapping plate, 1000 grit, to polish minor corrosion or burrs, rubbing in circular motions with light lubricant, WD-40, for 2 to 3 minutes to restore smooth insertion into collets. This prevents wobble during use, but avoid aggressive polishing that thins the shank below 0.118 inches for 1/8 inch standards. Chemical restoration tackles clogs from gummy materials, like aluminum. Soak the burr in a 50-50 vinegar water solution for 10 to 15 minutes to dissolve oxides, followed by ultrasonic cleaning if available, or manual brushing with a nylon tool, then rinse and dry thoroughly to avert rust on the steel shank. Step-by-step verbal instructions for this. Submerge only the head in the solution. Agitate gently every 5 minutes, then neutralize with baking soda paste applied via a cotton swab, scrubbing flutes lightly before a final air dry. Test cleanliness by running water through the flutes. If residue persists, repeat but never exceed 30 minutes to avoid etching the carbide. Over-sharpening risks extend to profile work, honing the overall shape with a diamond wheel, if using a bench grinder adapted for low speed, can inadvertently widen flutes if pressure exceeds 5 pounds, leading to loss of structural integrity. Always measure flute width pre- and post-restoration with calipers, halting if it increases by more than 0.002 inches. Illustrating these techniques, close-up diagrams provide visual clarity for DIY execution, helping users replicate professional results at home. Envision a close-up diagram of the flute sharpening process. Magnified 5 times, the burr's helical groove fills the frame, with the diamond file angled at 15 degrees pressing along the edge, arrows depicting the filing direction from tip to base, and shaded cross-sections showing the before, dull rounded lip, versus after, sharp beveled edge profiles. Warning icons like a red stop sign highlight the over-sharpening zone, where excessive removal is marked with a fractured line, emphasizing the need for measured strokes. Another diagram zooms on the shank lapping, a cylindrical shank section in profile, with circular rub paths from the lapping plate illustrated as concentric rings. Before and after insets, revealing pitted versus polished surfaces, and a caution triangle noting the 0.118-inch minimum diameter, etched beside a caliper icon. For chemical cleaning, picture a sectional view of clogged flutes, bubbles rising from the vinegar soak to dislodge debris, transitioning to a clean open-channel post brush with step numbers overlaid and a timer symbol warning against prolonged exposure. These diagrams, simple yet detailed, serve as mental blueprints, reinforcing that successful DIY sharpening hinges on patience and precision to breathe new life into carbide burrs. In conclusion, DIY sharpening and restoration of carbide burrs demystify tool maintenance, allowing users to achieve razor-sharp performance through diamond file techniques and careful cleaning, all while heeding warnings against over-sharpening that could compromise safety and efficiency. By following these step-by-step instructions, from vise securing to test runs and visualizing via close-up diagrams, even novices can extend burr longevity by months or years, saving costs and reducing waste in their crafting endeavors. Regular practice on worn tools builds skill, ensuring carbide burrs remain reliable partners in precision work. But if damage is severe, for example, major chips, professional regrinding may be wiser to maintain optimal geometry.